Welcome to the Get Unbusy Podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello and welcome to the Get Unbusy Podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott. You know the drill. We got another juicy conversation today. This is an episode that you're gonna want to come back to time and time again. Obviously, a lot of what I do is related to systems, but there are different strategies of systemizing and streamlining your business to use at different points, depending on your capacity right now and depending on how much of your work is actually streamlined at this point. I've put a timestamp in the show notes for when that part actually starts, but before we get into that, I have a wild life update for you this week. In the past week, a lot has happened, I'm not gonna lie. I actually just posted on Threads the other day and I was like, I listed out like 9, 10, 11, I don't know how many things that have happened just in the past 3 months. And I was like, guys, nothing really happened in my life for the past 3 years. Like everything was pretty much the same day in, day out. Like not crazy things were changing. And then just in the past 3 months, there's been like a new baby born. There's been 2 deaths. There's been a pregnancy announcement, which I told you about. There's been my brother is buying an apartment. My boyfriend is buying an apartment. Both of those haven't really happened yet. But with my boyfriend buying an apartment, yeah, this is where the life update comes. This day, 2 weeks ago, as I'm recording this, my boyfriend started his communications with his mortgage broker, okay? 2 weeks ago. Obviously, he had to get a lot of documents over and like things had to get approved. Okay, I'm going to give a timeline of last week. So on Monday, he submitted his mortgage application. Then on Tuesday, my brother contacted my family and he was like, oh my goodness, this apartment that we had registered our interest for just got back to us and they're saying that we can book it, so it would be absolutely ours. And if you don't know, I mean, I don't know what the housing market is like in other countries right now, but in Ireland, wow, the demand is off the fucking chain. Like, it's unbelievable. Houses are going up and being sold just off the floor plans within like a day. It is wild. The demand is crazy. So even if you have all of the finances, everything sorted, it's still not easy to get a place. So that email came through for my brother last Tuesday. So he paid the booking deposit, which is like not a full deposit. It's just like a few grand just to show them, yeah, we're definitely interested in buying this. It's not legally binding or anything, but my nana, obviously, who passed away, is really looking after my brother. And my nana really was looking after my brother because Tuesday last week was 6 weeks to the day that she passed away, and the email came in at 3:08 p.m, right? My nana died at 3:10 p.m, 6 weeks prior. That email is a game changer and like actually means that they're going to have a home for not only themselves, but also their baby that's on the way. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's one thing, right? And because that happened, my boyfriend asked me, can you put a good word in with your nana for me as well? And I was like, yes, absolutely I will. Now, that led into Wednesday, which was just a really busy day for me. It was just chaotic for a number of reasons, just work-wise. I had a lot of client stuff to do, and I had a one-to-one day with a client, and there was membership stuff to do, and I had stuff with my remote job as well. That was why it was so intense. But long story short, I didn't get around to having a word with my nana. Now, we have some of her ashes in my house, so there's a nice little corner with a gorgeous picture of her where I can actually go over and talk to her, which is really comforting. But I couldn't get to it on Wednesday. So Thursday morning comes, about 7:30 in the morning, and I am alone in the kitchen, and I go over to her and I'm like, Nana, my wonderful boyfriend is looking for an apartment and the housing market is just, it's a lot right now and everything is selling out really, really, really fast. So you have to be so fast. Can you please help him out? Can you please just give things a little nudge in the right direction? Okay. When I fucking tell you, my nana was like a woman. I was going to say a woman possessed. Okay. Well, maybe. My nana was on one that day. She was like, all right, you asked, you shall receive. Because an hour and a half later, 9:05 a.m., bearing in mind the offices only open at 9 a.m., 9:05 a.m., my boyfriend gets an email. The same kind of email that my brother got about an apartment. And this was actually his favourite apartment that he had registered interest for. And they basically were like, yeah, do you want to pay the booking deposit? It can be yours. Oh my God. Immediate wow. I was like, babe, I didn't even tell him that I had spoken to my nana that morning. Like, I didn't even get around to saying that. This is wild. I literally just asked her this morning for some help. Also, there is more proof because I'm not even fucking done. So 2 hours later, it's 11 a.m. My boyfriend gets a second email from a different place in a different location. What? Same kind of email looking for the booking deposit. Okay, amazing. 4 hours later, he gets a third fucking email. Are you for real? Like I said, my nana was on one. She was like, listen, I'm here to do you favors. Just ask. So with all of this going on, and my boyfriend was obviously in work that day, he responded to the first email that had come in, and he managed to book like a little slot to be shown around the area for the next day, which is Friday. So Friday morning comes. He messages me, I got my mortgage approval. What? This is supposed to take like weeks. Now, to be fair, they said 10 working days. But need I remind you, he only submitted his application on the Monday. So it took 4 days. Oh my God. Think about that timeline, right? 3 emails come in. That same day, he books a slot for the next day at 4 p.m. That day in the morning, he gets his mortgage approval so that he can go to that apartment in the afternoon and be like, yeah, I'm mortgage approved, which gives him a much better chance of actually getting the apartment. Oh my God. Like, the timeline is just unbelievable. So that was 4 p.m. on Friday. He went to go see it. He fell in love with it. He showed me pictures. It's stunning. I also fell in love with it just from what he was saying and just from what he showed me. And there literally is nothing wrong with this apartment. It's perfect. It's literally perfect. In a market like this, how do you possibly even find something that is perfect that you don't even have a tiny issue with? Like, the only small thing I'd say is it's a little further away than I plan to be moving, because I will be moving in with him. It is a little further away than I plan to move. It's about an hour-ish south from where I am right now, so obviously that's going to mean a lot of life changes, but it's just fantastic, and it would mean us starting our lives together, because right now we don't live together. So all of that happened, and I was like, and his plan was to email them on the Monday to confirm, yes, I want this apartment. But he also had heard from the selling agent that it's kind of first come, first served. So I was like, maybe just email them ASAP. And he emailed them straight away. Now, it was a bank holiday weekend because obviously Monday was St. Patrick's Day. We had to wait until the Tuesday, which was yesterday. So the update is it's his. He's paid the booking deposit. It's actually his. It's actually going to be our new home. Wow. Like, need I remind you, 2 weeks ago, he started conversations with his mortgage broker, and now look how fast that's happened. The life update is I'm moving out of my parents' house. I'm moving into my boyfriend's apartment, and life is going to change in a big way. And it's also right around the time that my brother and his girlfriend's apartment is going to be ready and they'll be moving in, which is also, ironically enough, right around the time where their baby is going to be born. It's going to be a pretty crazy summer. So I'm sure my life updates won't continue to be so life altering as we continue, but who knows? Let's dive into this episode. I am so excited for you to hear what I've got to say on this topic, and genuinely this is one you're going to want to bookmark and come back to time and time again. I wanted to come on today and talk about the 4 stages of creating your flexible schedule and what to do at each stage, because obviously I talk about systems all the time, but there's actually a particular order and particular strategies that you can use at the right times in order to get faster in your streamlining your biz journey than you would if you just kind of randomly started writing SOPs and randomly started setting up automations and stuff. So it's based on your capacity. Let's be honest. If you are in the first stage, and the first stage is you are beyond maximum capacity, like you're operating at 120% of your capacity, it's gonna be not difficult, it's going to be actually impossible to sit down and create these elaborate systems and write these perfect SOPs and whatever, because you don't have the time to do that. So in that stage, we have to look at creating systems. And if you're new around here, when I say systems, I do mean like SOPs, checklists, templates, template banks, automations, policies, things like that simplify your workload and reduce your overall workload. But you want to be looking at systems that don't take a lot of time to create, that give you time back. So it's like your output is minimal, but it does actually give you time back. So the very first step there is banking and documenting. This is the strategy I absolutely recommend if you're in that like I am beyond maximum capacity stage. This is why this is the very first, this is literally the pre-work for Streamline Coach, because we can't continue and create all these elaborate systems when we don't have the capacity to create elaborate systems. Like there is only so much time in the day. So when I say banking and documenting, banking is like you're doing stuff right now. There's stuff that you're doing. There are emails you're writing. There is content you're creating. You're writing emails to people to remind them that you have a call, or to remind them that they have a payment coming up, or you're setting up a new freebie and you write an email, a welcome email sequence. Those kind of things can be banked. So the strategy here is literally bank everything you create. Everything you write, type, whatever. Bank it all. And it goes into a document and everything is hyperlinked so you know where everything is and it's created for you. So next time you go to write an email like that or to create a piece of content like that, you already have a templated version. Is this the system that's going to give you back the most time? No. But the ones that are going to give you back the most time are also going to take a little bit of time. For example, something I talk about sometimes is like an email nurture sequence that's like 20 weeks long. If you set up something like that, where let's say somebody downloads your freebie and they get put into a 20-week email nurture sequence where every single week they're getting nurtured, there's high value content in there, there's not a single sale, there's nothing promoting, you are pretty much never going to have to write a nurture email ever again. I mean, hopefully people will last longer than the 20 weeks, but they're constantly seeing you and they're really like, oh my God, these emails are so high value and I get so much from this. And it's completely off your plate. You're not writing emails every week. So the reason I gave that example is because that takes a lot of time to create. But that's why that's not the first type of system that we're going to do. Like, that's going to give you a lot of time back, but we're not going to go to that first. We're going to go to banking and documenting. Documenting then is, let's say you're doing an admin task. First example that comes to my head is you're creating a new product on your website. So like the actual creating of the product so that people can buy it. Not just creating the product, but you document each step so that the next time you go to do it, it's not going to take you as long. And it's the same with the banking of things that you type out, things that you create. If everything is banked, it's not going to take you as long the next time that you do it. So you can see how like you're doing these things anyway, but you're banking it. And because you're banking it, you are not going to take as long to do the task next time. That's step one. That's stage one, where you're like, there's no way I can just start creating systems. So the second stage, you're working at about 80 to 100% of your maximum capacity. So you're kind of up there. You're like, I pretty much have just as much time as I have tasks. Like, if anything went wrong, my whole world will collapse because I can't take on anything else. So if something breaks or something goes wrong, we got a problem. There's not really much wiggle room. Obviously, it's a dangerous place to be long term because, sometimes things take longer than we expect. Sometimes things explode. Sometimes things go wrong. So it's, we don't want to be here long term. So we want to make sure that we're getting out of that stage. The strategy for this one is to utilize done for you systems. Being at the 80 to 100% of your maximum capacity place is not a great place to be because that requires you to be showing up in your top energy, maximum energy all the time, every day. If you have a tired day where you're like, I need to work from bed today, or like, I need to take a half day because I just need some naps, then that will throw you off. And we don't want to be in a place where we don't have that kind of flexibility. We're our own boss. So we want to create something where we have the flexibility to know that, okay, well, I need a nap today. So I'm going to have a nap today. And nothing is going to explode because I had a nap. So the strategy here is done for you systems. I tell people SOPs are so powerful. Like having an SOP of the guidelines of how to create a new product on your website, like the example I gave, or the best example that I've ever experienced is setting up a new Facebook lead ad. This takes me so long. Well, it took me so long. It would take me like 3 hours every single time. The most recent time that I did it, it took less than 30 minutes because the last time I did it, I put together an SOP for it. That meant that when I was sitting down to set up the Facebook lead ad, I didn't have to think about, what step was next? What setting do I do for this? Like, what audience do I do? It's all written down. I know exactly how I do it. I don't know it in my brain, but that information was stored in a document a couple months ago. So having those, it speeds you up so much. But writing SOPs is pretty time consuming. But wouldn't it be so handy to have a done for you version of that so that you don't even have to create the SOP? Like having it done, I already have access to an SOP that allows me to create a new product on my website or create a new landing page or whatever. And yeah, you're going to have to personalize it to your business and to whatever is relevant to you, but you don't have to start from scratch and you don't have to start from a blank page because that is where things can get time consuming as well. And same with templates and stuff, writing the welcome email into a free bootcamp. If I had to write one of those from scratch, it would take me a long time because I'd be like, what do I need to include in this? This is important, but am I forgetting something? I don't know. I went back and I duplicated the email from my last one. Yeah, personalized it, made it better, but I didn't have to start from scratch. So anything that's done for you, make use of that if you're in that kind of working at 80 to 100% of your maximum capacity. Now, when we get to you've worked down to 80%, and there's a period of while you're still creating systems and you're working between 80% and you're gradually building it down to 50%, this is where things can get interesting. And this is your main systems era. So this is the third stage. You've freed up some time, of course, with what we've talked about with the banking, documenting, done for you systems. Now you can start to look at, all right, I've got time to look at this now. What automations can I set up to make my life easier? What are my most frequent tasks? What do I do every single day or every single week that I could automate, that I could have an SOP for, that I could have a checklist for so that I don't have to actually think about it? And that's where the real magic happens. But you can't skip to that step. If you're at max capacity or beyond, you can't just go straight to that because these things take time. And you have to kind of go through I have this image of wading through the mud. You have to kind of wade through the mud of the slightly less impactful, but impactful enough to make a difference to get you to that 80%. to be able to shoot towards the 50% or below. That's some real magic right there. When you get to the 50%, like you are the amount of work that you have to do is only 50% of your capacity. How incredible does that feel? That's like, okay, I've got some real flexibility here. I actually can wake up and have a 4-hour morning routine if I want to have a 4-hour morning routine. Or I can wake up and get to it and then finish my workday at like midday. Because I can choose and I don't have to do all this work. But if I'm in a period where I'm in a build phase and I want to trailblaze and create bigger results and massive momentum for myself, I have the time and the space, I have the flexibility in my schedule to do that as well. So this is such a nice place to be. This is where I am right now, in that between the 20 to 50% of my max capacity. I feel like it doesn't, if you're in a trailblazing era, it doesn't feel like you have much flexibility because, for example, the past 3 weeks has been pretty busy for me because there's like so many things because I've added them in. But, and here's the caveat, here's the thing, is the things that I've been doing have been much higher impact. It wasn't me being busy because I had a bunch of emails or being busy because I was spending hours every day on admin. Like, those things are all systemized to clear my mind and clear my schedule for the ability to just go all in and create massive results. And that is a really magic thing as well, but it's the fact that you have the choice. So when you have the flexibility, you have the choice to trailblaze and to create that massive momentum, or you can choose to just have more free time. And the ability to choose, like, that in itself is the most incredible place to be. I have a lot of resistance to work if I feel like I have to work. But feeling like, oh my God, I actually get to choose what I do today. I actually get to choose if I play around with this new offer idea or if I like start playing around with YouTube again. I wouldn't have had the capacity to do that. And there has not been a single day where I have worked more than like an 8-hour day. And that in the past few weeks, and that's in an era of trailblazing. There has not been a single late night worked. There has not been a single night's sleep shortened. There has not been a single morning walk missed. I have my hour walk as soon as I wake up, and then I would come back, shower, and then my hour of mindset work. And that was a non-negotiable. And I was able to make that a non-negotiable even in the depths of a launch without any team members. And the reason I could do that is because of systems. So, I mean, this stuff really is incredible. Like, I will preach it from the rooftops. I will scream it from the rooftops every chance that I get, because I really, truly, deeply wish more people knew about this stuff. There is a way to approach your tasks that doesn't need, every time you do a task, it doesn't need to take as long as it took you today next time. And that gives you so much freedom. So, when we get to like 50% capacity or less, this is also really interesting, because this is where you can start looking at, so this is stage 4. This is where you can start looking at, okay, 50% capacity or less, pretty much everything is systemized. And I can look at, how are we going to take this business to the next level? How are we going to create more scalable offers? And how are we going to get to those people, to those larger audiences, and reach more people so that those scalable offers call more people in, which means more money for you without trading more time for that money, which means, you know, offloading more of your busy work to a team member. Maybe you're hiring, maybe you're onboarding a new team member. I also have systems in place already for when I am at that point where I'm like, you know what, it makes sense to hire a VA. They're gonna have a bunch of SOPs ready to go, And there is going to be an onboarding Asana project, which I already have ready, which is like all of the steps of their onboarding into my business. So it's like, you know, getting them set up with access to different things and go through these SOPs. That's your training. This is how you track your time. This is how you bill me for your hours. Like all of that, like it's ready to go. And then, I mean, you can really get down to like the 20% capacity part. You probably don't even want to go any less than that, because if this is your business and you're focusing on your zone of genius, like you get to choose the stuff that you work on. And I know that a lot of people in my audience, those of you who are coaches, course creators, membership owners, you are making a difference in this world. And you are not just trying to build a business to try and build a business. Like we're all actually having a huge impact on our people. So love that for us. But those are the 4 stages. So just to recap, you got you're completely over busy. You're working at 100 to 120 of your maximum capacity. This is the stress zone. This is like danger zone. If you hold on to this for a long time, we're talking burnout, we're talking red, we're talking stress, we're talking ill health, we're talking putting on weight, and not because you're enjoying your life, but because you're so stressed and you never get a chance to work out or put any effort into your, you know, nutrition, things like that. Then you have 80 to 100% of your max capacity. You've got like a tiny bit of leeway on time, but not really. And if anything goes wrong in that stage, we're panicking because we can't keep up with it all and things tend to pile up. That's not a fun place to be either. Stage 3, 80 down to 50% of your max capacity is what you're working at. This is the magic zone where you get to create the most SOPs and reclaim the most time. We want to get to there. And that's, so I'm going to explain something in a second, but that's where so much magic happens. Then the final zone, if you will, is there's not much that you have to do. You just get to show up in your business and do whatever the hell you desire. Like what are you feeling called to? What's the offer that you're like, I want to create this. My people want me to create this, or like the passion project you want to do. Oh, like that's so good. And you're probably at this point thinking about onboarding team members and, you know, outsourcing and stuff like that. So there's ways to remove even more of your busy work at that point. It's a beautiful place to be, but we definitely don't want to be in the place where it's like red zone, max capacity, beyond max capacity. It doesn't feel good, and business is supposed to feel good. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Now, I know that a lot of people in my audience are very busy, overwhelmed people with lots to do on any given day, and it is pretty exhausting. And there's genuinely nothing more frustrating in business than starting your workday and having like 20 things to do and no clue where to start. So I've created a resource for you called the Priority Game Dashboard. Basically, it's a really fun way of deciding what task should get your attention first. You essentially it's free, by the way. You essentially put all your tasks head to head with each other, like in their own little tournament, and towards the end, one comes out on top, and that's the one you do first. And based on my philosophy, if you have one top priority for the day and you get that done, then the day has been a success, and anything you do beyond that is a bonus. So I do this most days, to be honest. I just find it really fun. It is a really fun way to actually get your priorities straight and figure out, okay, what am I actually doing first? Because I can't do 20 things at once, and it's completely free. So you can grab that at creatorproductivity.com/the-priority-game or through the link in the show notes. All right, gorgeous. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at MoreToLifeKate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.